And we're back for another Saturday night study session. Crime Curious is a private study group for crime junkies and law nerds. Kilo says hello. He also wants you to know that he is not the teacher's pet. Because I'm not a teacher. Welcome to it. I'm glad that I scheduled the members only live, the post-trial study group first, before my live stream, the public live stream that's coming up at 8 p.m. So here in 2 hours. I'm almost ready for it, but not quite. In that video, we're going to be going over in more detail the affidavit of probable cause in Colorado's case against Kimberlee Singler. And I hope that you guys can join me for that as well. So for the first post-trial study group session of 2026, I wanted to talk about Letecia Stauch. Not really about her so much. In this first session, what I want to do is I want to revisit, I want to ask the question, what did we learn from the testimony and involvement of Dr. Dorothy Lewis as the expert witness in Letecia's defense? And so I'm just going to jump right into that. Before I do, I want to make a quick announcement. So there are still at least 9 months of pretrial jail calls that we have not heard. And I don't mean just on this channel. I mean on any channel. There are still at least 9 months that we have not heard that are available. So on New Year's Eve, I gave the El Paso County Sheriff's Office $385 for a new batch. So we have a new batch of jail calls coming. These are going to be pre-trial jail calls. I don't know that I'm going to get any more beyond that, but I am excited that we have a new batch that we're going to be discussing as soon as I get them. It's been a long time since I ordered anything from the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, but last time I did, it took just about forever. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But I will keep you posted. I just wanted to let you know that they are coming, and I think that a lot can be learned from them. And so the plan is those calls will be played first in a members-only live stream, and that's just an added benefit for joining the post-trial study group. And then I'm going to make those videos, the members-only live stream, I'm going to remove the public chat. It may be on the screen. Anyway, I'm in the weeds. All I mean to say is that I'm going to take those those members-only live streams, and I'm going to turn them into public videos. So we're going to review the phone calls with commentary during a members-only live stream, and then 24 hours later, I'll release those videos to the public. Ooh, that was a long walk. Okay. Yeah. Let me get to my notes here. Okay, so just like in a public live stream, what I wanted to do to kick this one off is I've put together some clips to get the conversation going. And I'm also going to try putting the comments up on the screen while the video is playing, so maybe that way I won't miss as many. So let me find that video here. Okay, so the first part of this is a video that I put out on my channel, a very brief video that I put out on my channel back in October of 2022. And so that was pre-trial, and it was right when the defense announced that Dorothy Lewis would be their expert witness for the defense. And then after that is just something that I found kind of informative on somebody else's channel. And that's just meant to get the conversation going. But here we go. Much has been written about Letecia Stauch's reluctance to show up at important court appearances. Many of us have also heard about Letecia's federal lawsuit against the Criminal Justice Center, and we all know now that she claims to have dissociative identity disorder and has therefore pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Not much has been written about an out-of-state doctor who has been retained by Stauch's defense team in order to perform a second sanity evaluation. CrimeCurious.com has learned that Letecia's new psychiatrist is Dorothy Lewis.
I have now seen 22 serial killers. It's fascinated me. I think any one of us, myself included, could kill. Don't you ever wonder why you don't murder? We know that the most disturbed, the most psychotic, or the most brain-damaged killers do the most bizarre, grotesque, horrendous kinds of things. Courts are all far more curious about what the murderer did than about why they did it. And wondering how someone could do that to someone else. It appalled me and it fascinated me.
She was a pioneer, and pioneers are often not treated well.
It was early in my career. My work was questionable.
They did a form of interviewing that can cause vulnerable people to believe they have more than one personality.
How can there be such different functioning in the same brain?
Bundy himself perpetuated the fantasy that he came from this perfectly normal childhood.
So I interviewed family members. Things were horrendous for Bundy from conception onward. When you couple some kind of brain dysfunction with a history of horrible early ongoing abuse, the social, the psychological, the biological forces that came together, you get a super dangerous person.
For 2 days, we learned who Dorothy Lewis is. Where, you ask? In Letecia Stauch trial day 18 and 19. And if you're not familiar, she interviewed American serial killer Ted Bundy. That's where I went down a rabbit hole I couldn't get out of, and I came across this statement. Lewis talked often about how much affection she had for several murderers, and the feeling was often mutual. Bundy trusted her so much he even kissed her goodbye hours before his execution, according to the Yale School of Medicine. While Lewis's theories and her affection for the killers she studied were sometimes viewed as controversial, crazy, not insane, celebrates her compassion and curiosity for why people turn bad. When it comes to the root of Bundy's true nature, however, the verdict is still out. In November 2020, Dorothy came out with this statement. Before I walked out of the room, she said he bent down and kissed me on the cheek, and so I kissed him on the cheek and walked out. And when I got home, I was trying to make light of it. You know, there's nothing like, really? I was making this video into a short and it was a little too long, so I had to make it into a video. I plan on making a more extensive video about this. If you wouldn't mind subscribing, I would appreciate it.
Okay, and I have Becky backstage. Becky, hi Becky. You are welcome to keep your camera on, but I wanted to give you a chance to turn it off if you didn't want to have it on. But you give me a thumbs up, then I'll just bring you up. All right, there we go.
It off. I'm just laying on the couch, that's all.
There you are.
But you can hear it okay? Because like I said, I've never done this before.
Welcome to it.
I just laid down, took out my contacts and put on my glasses and I'm like, oh, you're live, so I'm going to join you. But I'll turn it off now. I don't want to be distracting.
Yeah. Well, no, you're fine. You're fine. And this is a members only video, and this is the post-trial study group. And you know, building a community in public videos is one thing, but I really like having this behind the scenes, smaller community. And I'm just so glad that you guys are a part of it. And Scout over there lurking in the comments, I'm going to get her up here one day too.
Might as well break the cherry. But so I'm curious. I can't see the chat though, right? Unless I look like I can see it on your screen, but it's really small, right?
Oh yeah, because you're on your phone.
Okay.
It might be tough. What I can do, since I can see it well, is if there's anything that I think that, I can just read it to you. There's only a few of us in here.
Okay.
It's not like there's 100 people, there's at least 3,
Okay.
no more than 5. But so what do you think about reopening the rabbit hole that is Dorothy Lewis?
You know what? I'm looking forward to listening to you because she confused the heck out of me. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, like in that that preview or that trailer for her documentary. Did you watch her documentary?
No, because it was over my head too.
Yeah. I've watched it more times than I care to admit. I actually purchased it on YouTube. But that part where she says, "Don't you ever wonder why you don't murder?" Oh, it just gave me the creeps. And I'm like, what? Who is this woman? No, I can't.
Exactly.
And then after seeing her performance at trial, you did see
Yes.
her testimony at the trial.
Yes.
So then going back to that documentary and even just that trailer we just watched now, she says, early in my career, my work was questionable. And I'm thinking, honey, late in your career was also pretty questionable. I don't want to be rude about, this woman's life work. I know that she has spent her entire life incredibly passionate and driven. And, she is clearly highly intelligent, compared to most at a minimum. So for me to call her an idiot would take some real nerve. But I had my moments where I had to stop myself from being almost too critical of this highly intelligent woman.
It's the path she's chosen, though.
Right.
That's the path that she's chosen. She's trying to prove her deranged thinking. That's what bothers me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pulling, we're going to be on this topic next week as well. So I've got some study materials. Let me see what this does if I try to pop this on the screen. Okay. Let's see. Whoops, that knocked you off the screen. We'll figure it out. I'm going to bring it out, put you back in. There we go. Okay. So this is actually a picture by my bathtub. It's on the corner of my bathtub. I've got a digital voice recorder, a copy of Dorothy Lewis's book, Guilty by Reason of Insanity, and then a hardback copy of a book I found at a thrift store called Dissociative Identity Disorder. And I found this book like during trial. So I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. I'm in a random thrift store and there's a book on dissociative identity disorder. Weird stuff like that happens all the time. And so I've got both of those 2 books that I've gone through and highlighted passages out of. So for the study group on Saturday nights at 6 p.m. Mountain, we're not going to read the whole book. But what I've done, similar to what was Josh Tellini, Letecia's defense attorney, and Dave, the prosecuting attorney that worked with Mike Allen, he during trial read certain passages of the book. So I've gone through these 2 books and I've highlighted only things that seem to make sense with this case. And let me tell you, these books are over my head. Absolutely. That's why I was very careful with what I, gleaned from them. And so what I'll do, and we'll even start tonight on Dorothy Lewis's book, is I'll just, read some of the first passages. But it is a rabbit hole. And so then that second video that just played, where it was that other channel who was talking about how Dorothy Lewis had come out with this statement in November of 2020 that she was Ted Bundy's last kiss.
Jeez.
Yeah. Had you heard that before?
No, I never did.
Oh, yeah. So, as you know, Gannon Stauch was murdered by Letecia in January of 2020. In October of 2020, Dorothy Lewis's documentary came out on HBO, and it was directed by Alex Gibney. He's amazing. And then in October of 2022, so exactly 2 years, and Scout says she hasn't heard that either. I'm so glad we're doing this. So in October of 2022, exactly 2 years after her documentary came out, it was announced during one of Letecia's pretrial hearings that, Bundy's last kisser was going to be the star witness for the defense, an expert. And then they made it known that she was claiming to have dissociative identity disorder. So if you go back on the timeline, February of 2022, that's when Letecia Stauch officially changed her plea to not guilty by reason of insanity. And it wasn't until October 16th of 2022, that we found out this woman was Letecia's doctor. And she didn't even see her, I think, until the first time until November of 2022, which was only 5 or 6 months before trial. And she didn't turn in the paperwork that she was supposed to turn in, when she was supposed to turn it in.
Right.
I mean, it was a shit show. So now that I have a fairly solid understanding of it, this is what we're doing with it. Welcome to it. Yeah, Ted Bundy's last kisser. So anyway, so the source materials for this section, it's going to be Dorothy Lewis's book, that other book about dissociative identity disorder, the documentary. Now, we're not going to be able to watch the documentary together, but I'll just go through it and do a summary. And I assure you, don't spend the money. It's not worth it, for our purposes here. I'll just, I'll take stuff out of it, but we'll cover it here. And then also her testimony at trial. So I think it'll take us probably 2 or 3 weeks at an hour or two each time. But I think that at the end, we will have a better understanding of Dorothy Lewis's compassion and curiosity for why people turn bad. That was a direct quote. That's why I was a little snarky. She talks about her compassion and curiosity for why people turn bad. She doesn't believe that people are either good or bad. She does not believe in the concept of evil, because she thinks that is a religious idea. It's a religious conception that evil even exists. She thinks there's a reason for it. She doesn't think anyone should be put to death. She thinks that everyone should be studied. And so she really wanted to study Letecia Stauch. And I can't believe that woman, with all of her years of experience, Dorothy Lewis, made it all the way through trial before realizing, I have been duped from front to back with this fucking case. Why did I take it? Now, that's not a quote. I don't even know that that's how she felt. But it kind of seems like that would be the case, right?
Exactly. And then try to cover it up.
Right. Right. Oh, and then there was that bit about her son smoking weed in the stairwell of the courthouse. And I'm just going, oh my God, what is happening? This was my first homicide trial, Letecia Stauch. I had followed the Chris Watts case. I had followed the Patrick Frazee case. And I was learning about red wine at the time.
Well, let's go outside. Come on, let's go outside.
But
Talking to my dog. Sorry.
oh no, dogs are welcome. Dogs, yeah, you don't even have to pretend that it's a service animal. Dogs are welcome at the post-trial study group. I just let Kilo out. He's been outside. He's got food. He's got water. He had a treat. He got some new toys today. And he's in the other room watching TV. I think he's watching The Good Wife. He really seems to like The Good Wife. So I don't know about his taste or mine, but we work really well together. Anyway, I might as well go ahead and start. So I'm just going to read a couple of the passages that I have highlighted out of Dorothy Lewis's book. And it's been years since I highlighted these passages. And dogs are definitely welcome.
Unfortunately, 2 seniors that are driving me crazy. That's my problem.
So you have 2?
Yes. Oh, and they're seniors, and one has really bad dementia, Jennifer. That's the problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, between me and you and Scout, we have 5.
Oh my gosh.
No, 6. We have 6 between the 3 of us. I have 1 and Scout has 3. Yeah, dogs are always welcome. Okay, so although already on page 3, I highlighted just one sentence. Alone in a room with a serial killer is neither the time nor the place to quibble about inconsistencies. So here's this book that Dorothy Lewis wrote. Let me look at the date on this book. 1998. Okay, so here I am in 2022 highlighting a book that Dorothy Lewis wrote in 1998. And I'm sorry, 2023 is when I did the highlighting. And the reason I highlighted the sentence, alone in a room with a serial killer is neither the time nor the place to quibble about inconsistencies, is because, I wondered after watching bits and pieces of her interview, and let me change what's on the screen. Let's put Letecia's crazy ass up there. No, I don't want to look at that. All right, Dorothy Lewis. There we go. Okay. At the time, I had seen bits and pieces of Letecia's 14-hour interview with Dorothy Lewis while she was at the jail. And, there she is. She's alone in the room with a murderer. And when Letecia would say something just absolutely stupid, ridiculous, that obviously was a lie that didn't match up to something she had said before, I wondered, why didn't Dorothy Lewis stop her and ask, well, now Letecia, well, no, okay, I take that back. Letecia had Dorothy Lewis believing that her name was Letecia. So, that's, oh, this rabbit hole. Okay,
But I think
so
letting her just talk, she would get more information from her. That's what I took from it. You kind of let them ramble, just to let them, guide the story.
Right. And, just based on this sentence, I assume that there's also a need to not be confrontational, because I have a tendency to not take Letecia Stauch seriously, because I give her the presumption of ignorance. I just, everything that I've seen from her makes me think that she is not very bright. She is nowhere near as smart as she thinks she is. And, but she does need to be taken seriously. And she is a murderer and she is a liar. And Mike Allen said that she was hands down the most manipulative defendant that he has prosecuted in his entire career. So I guess another reason would be, to not have it become confrontational. I don't know. So I highlighted that. And then on another page, I highlighted a paragraph, and it says, fortunately, most prisons allow lawyers to sit in on diagnostic interviews with inmates. The presence of another person in the room, while not diminishing paranoia, helps keep rageful feelings and violent behaviors in check. There are other advantages than just safety to having a lawyer at interviews. Jonathan and I, which was her partner at the time, Jonathan and I insist that the lawyers with whom we work observe what happens in our interviews, what we do, what we say, what we see, and what we hear. Some of the phenomena that come to light are so unusual, so bizarre, that they must be seen to be believed. And this paragraph, I think, is what Dorothy Lewis was trying to explain when she was confronted during testimony by the prosecution, saying, so is it normal for the defendant's attorney to be in with a patient during a psychological exam? Because when Dorothy Lewis met with Letecia Stauch, also present in the room were 3 other people at any given time, and sometimes jail staff. But the 3 other people in the room were Josh Tellini, Caitlin Kreck, who was a private investigator for the defense, and Dorothy Lewis's son, who was running one of the 2 video cameras. I'm not sure if the second video camera belonged to the jail or if it belonged to the defense. Either way, in that room during this interview where Letecia Stauch is clearly performing in a bullshit wannabe Russian accent. Okay. God, I giggle, I laugh, I chuckle, but this shit is not funny. I have to catch myself sometimes. But at any time in that room were 2 cameras and at least 5 humans. That was Leticia's stage. And up to this point, no one but maybe the jury and people who were directly involved with the prosecution of the case have seen, and Dorothy Lewis and her son, have seen that 14-hour interview. What I wouldn't give to be able to share that 14-hour interview with people, even it just, without commentary.
They didn't show part of that during the trial? I thought
They showed
did.
part of it, but my sick ass wants to see the entire 14 hours.
Oh.
I want to see the whole thing. I want to see Letecia Stauch's performance for 14 hours. And so those jail calls that I ordered on the 4th of the 4th of July. I was talking to my aunt about plans for the 4th of July earlier. Those jail calls that I ordered on New Year's Eve. Were you here when I was talking about that?
No, that I missed. I missed that.
Oh, so I made a quick announcement that on New Year's Eve, I ordered a fresh batch of pretrial jail calls. And they are there. We've got about 9 months of jail calls that nobody has heard. They haven't been released on any channels. And while I'm not necessarily interested in getting all of them or going down that rabbit hole for too long, I did analyze what we had, what other channels have, and I looked at it and I tried to remember what was going on legally during that time, what was going on in the press during that time, what might be a good month to pick out. And when we first started doing this, when I was releasing phone calls with Alex Erickson and the Ward case studies, the first batch that we received as a team was October of 2020. And Letecia had been in jail for about 6 months. And this is when she, I believe, started talking about vampires and, call buttons in her cell and people taking her organs.
Right.
I assume you've heard all those.
Yes.
And that's where we jumped in as a team. And as you know, I'm on my own now. And that's, I wish everybody well. It's just entirely separate now. Now this post-trial study group, that's the team. And I ordered September of 2020, which was the month before where we started with the team. Now that the team has been blown to bits, there's a new team, and the truth is, I'm also going to release those jail calls exactly the way I did before, with like the whole month, with the calls separated, with information about the calls, with no commentary. And honestly, anybody who wants to use those to create their own content is welcome to do so. I appreciate credit, but I know sometimes it's not going to happen. I don't care. I don't have time to go trying to hunt down, who's using my content and how. It is what it is. But to begin with, what we're going to do is I'm going to do a members only live stream where we go over those calls with commentary with the post-trial study group. So that's going to be recorded as a live stream. And then what I'll do is I will remove the live chat from the members only live stream. And then I will just make it a public video so that people don't feel obligated to get a membership to the study group unless they truly want to study the shit out of these cases, which is what we do over here.
I have a question. Those
yes.
calls. What were the calls with that with the aunt who was sending her money that backed off when she started going crazy?
This might be the month where Aunt Katrina cuts her off.
That's her name. I thought it was something with the I can't remember her name.
Right. This might be the month where Aunt Katrina cuts her off. So there are actually, let's go all the way back. In fact, let me look at my sheet here. Okay, so Letecia Stauch got to the El Paso County Jail in March of 2020. Over at the docket, you remember the docket? That channel? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So the docket had March, April, and May of 2020. And that channel, as far as I know, is not around anymore. But I did hear them, and I feel like I got everything I needed to out of those. So I'm not willing to spend the money to get them again. And then the girls and I, the prior team, we had ordered July of 2021 at one point. Or, I'm sorry, we had ordered June of 2021 at one point, and El Paso County sent us June of 2020. And so we went ahead and used it. So we've heard those on, and those have been posted here on this channel. But we don't have July, August, or September of 2020. And then Alex and Jen Lou and I, together as a team, ordered October of 2020, and that's where we really started. But there was a gap. We don't know what happened to Aunt Katrina. We know that she was talking to members of the public during that 3-month time. So July of 2020 is $288 plus their convenience fee. August of 2020 is $376 plus their convenience fee. And September of 2020 was $376 plus their convenience fee, which was $8.99. So altogether, it came up to just under $385. And I sent that over to El Paso County on New Year's Eve. And I don't have an ETA yet, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted. So on the channel here in the archives, what we will have after I get this batch is June 2020, September 2020, October, November, December 2020. And then we also have January, February, March, April, May, and June of 2021. And then after our little team split up, the ladies on the other side got a couple of more months. At least one. I know they got February of 2022.
I know they got a lot because I've listened.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't-
Okay. Yeah. So, and not only do I not want to step on anybody's toes, but also, I wanted, I don't want to spend a bunch more money on this stuff. Um, I wanted to get things that I thought might be valuable that we might have missed. So that's why I chose to start with September of 2020. And I may or may not get July and August of 2020. It just depends on if I think, Letecia is a whole lot of the same shit over and over again. And you really have to mine that data, that information to actually get anything that was worth my time of research. You know what I mean?
But the Katrina stuff would be awesome to find out what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know when Aunt Katrina stopped talking to her. So, we'll get September of 2020 and we'll see. And yeah, I think that I've got it set up in the best possible way to set it up. And then once we're done going through it with commentary as a post-trial study group, then I will release that one big video that has the entire month with no commentary. And like I said, anybody is welcome to use it. It is what it is. I'm releasing it to the public domain, period. So I don't know. I'm really excited. And I definitely put a lot of time and thought into how I would do it. And I think that's the best possible way. And I think that a lot of people will have interest, right?
Oh, definitely. I think most people love her calls.
Yeah.
I know I do.
And Scout is looking forward to new calls. And Dee Dee's in the house. Vitamin Dee Dee, good to see you. And Dee Dee says, "Good job, Becky." Becky can't see the comments while she's up on the screen. Dee Dee, you are welcome to join us. Anybody is welcome to join us up here. And I just love the beginnings of our little study group. And I like that it's small. I'm not trying to become a millionaire. I'm not trying to, grow this huge thing. But the integrity of the information is important to me. And these are the cases that I hold dear. So thank you. Let me go back to, what time is it? 6. Wow, we've only been here for 38 minutes. That's pretty good. I'm going to read a couple more passages that I've highlighted from Dorothy Lewis's book, Guilty by Reason of Insanity. Okay, so here's another sentence that I highlighted almost 3 years ago. Certainly no psychiatrist in his or her right mind believes everything a violent inmate says. Certainly no psychiatrist in her right mind believes everything a violent inmate says. So, I would hope she didn't believe. I don't know how she could have believed anything Letecia said. I think I would have laughed at her. Of course, I'm not a professional psychiatrist.
But that's true of any profession. You don't believe anything you say. You have to back it up with other things anyway. You just listen.
Right. The next sentence I highlighted says, if Jonathan and I always dismissed memory lapses and contradictions as lies, we would overlook valuable clues to the nature of many violent acts. We would overlook. Okay, so they're trying to get to the nature of why these people are violent. I do have another book I might add. Maybe it's across the room from me right now, but it's called The Anatomy of Violence, and it's way over my head. But we can get through this stuff together. So if Jonathan and I always dismissed memory lapses as contradictions and contradictions as lies, So memory lapses and contradictions are just normal. They're not lying. They might not be lying.
Oh my God.
And I did learn a new word about Dorothy Lewis's when Dorothy about the time Dorothy Lewis was testifying. The new word that I learned was confabulation. and and I remember looking up the word and learning what it meant. And basically it was like, say you get drunk tonight and black out and you wake up tomorrow with no memory of what your dumbass did. Uh, you might tell yourself X, Y, and Z happened, even though you have little to no memory, foggy at best, about what actually happened. You put together a picture in your mind of what probably happened, and then that becomes a lie that you tell yourself and a lie that you tell others, which is what a confabulation is. Thank you, Dorothy Lewis.
But I want to go back to your statement about, remembering lies or remembering. It made me think of Judge Judy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Judge Judy tore her apart.
Judge Judy. I love that gavel.
It's like lies are so, truths are a lot easier to remember.
Yeah, I just picture Judge Judy. Let me tell you something, crazy woman. You're crazy, lady, right?
Yes.
Oh man. Okay. Next one is, and this is just actually part of a sentence I highlighted. I find myself identifying with the poor miscreants whose damaged brains and traumatic upbringings have somehow landed them behind bars. No.
Wow.
No. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
PhD lady. Well, listen, she can identify with whoever she wants to identify with, right? But to refer to, let's use Letecia Stauch as an example, as a poor miscreant whose damaged brain and traumatic upbringing has now landed her behind bars.
Right.
Oh, no.
Doesn't explain all of that.
No, and I get it that that's what they tried to put forward as her defense. So Dorothy Lewis looks for the reasons why these people do what they do. But as a defense, does the jury care why they did it? You don't even have to prove motive in court. Right? So who cares why they did it? Why is this expert witness who's going to prove why she did what she did? I mean, I guess the difference was whether or not she went to prison, because instead she might have gone to the mental institution. But still, that's a long walk just to get to the mental institution.
Right.
Why would the jury care?
Right.
Poor Letecia. I mean, I'm sure the jury was as pissed off as I was when they started going into stories that you knew were bullshit about Letecia's tragic upbringing. No.
Which wasn't even that bad.
Right. Yeah, even her lies were like, really? That's what happened? Like, and she's lying and the lie isn't even that bad. Not compared to some of the stories we've heard.
Exactly. Or probably half the jury experienced in their lifetime.
Right. Oh, man. And Dee Dee says it was hard getting through those hours of her testimony, but I did it. Loved the way Attorney Young went after her. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dave Young was all over her, and he read this book inside and out, and I bet his copy was at least as marked up as my copy.
You know who was a big fan of Dr. Lewis's prior to her coming on?
Who?
Critical K.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah, and I didn't watch her very much at that point, Critical K, because she had turned me off during the Chris Watts stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I certainly came back to her when I found out that she was talking to Amy Lang.
After that part.
Okay, right. But during the trial, I wasn't really watching Critical K. I did go back afterwards, and afterwards I did see, to me it seemed like what Kay was trying to do was butter Dorothy Lewis up because she wanted that contact.
Oh.
Maybe. I mean, that's just my 2 cents. I don't know. But it kind of seems like, and it kind of seemed to me like Critical K also did that with Nicole Kessinger.
Oh, did she?
Like she was really, everybody was being so critical, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Everybody was being so critical of Nicole Kessinger, but Critical K wanted to talk to her bad. And so I think that, Critical K's motives determine her narrative. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not, but okay, so when I even learned about Dorothy Lewis, I was attending the pretrial hearings for Letecia. I was attending some of those in person. And I had seen a piece of paperwork because, this case was up on the cases of interest page. And so anything that was public record was automatically posted there. You didn't even have to request it, right? And so I had seen some paperwork come through that had been redacted, and it removed the name of Letecia's doctor. And that struck me as odd because I'm like, wait a minute, why can't we know the name of Letecia's doctor? It's been at that point, let's see, she changed her plea to not guilty by reason of insanity in February of 22. And this was October of 22. So, 8 months we've known that Letecia Stauch is claiming not guilty by reason of insanity. And I understand if maybe, let's say maybe for HIPAA, they didn't want to give out her diagnosis or something. I don't know. I'm reaching.
Right.
But to not release her doctor's name, I'm like, okay, no, something's up. So I knew to look for it. And I knew it was a big deal because they were hiding it. Okay. I'm just ill sometimes. So anyway, I'm sitting in court and the judge mentioned something to the defense about the doctor. They're trying to schedule that EEG and MRI that became such a conflict during trial because they weren't able to do it. And Dorothy Lewis thought they couldn't do it because the court had denied the funding. And the truth was they weren't able to do it because Letecia's attorneys withdrew the motion.
Oh, they didn't want it done.
Right. So, and they didn't, Dorothy Lewis didn't find out about that until she was on the stand. And, she looked not unlike herself in this news article. She broke down on the stand really badly in some other cases. She didn't necessarily break down on the stand in this one, but it was still a shit show.
That's surprising. Not surprising at all.
Right. Yeah. So I'm so glad we're doing this. Let's see. So the next one says, I keep Jonathan in touch with the vulnerabilities of our violent patients. He keeps me in touch with the consequences of their acts. I'm not sure why I highlighted that. But like I said, I
it's like logs what they do wrong.
Right.
How violent they are. That's what it sounds like to me.
Right. I mean, and Dorothy Lewis seems like the type of human who would absolutely coddle someone who's quite dangerous. So maybe her partner at the time helped her to remember, look, these people are murderers. They're not delicate little miscreants who need your love and support because they had it tough growing up. And when she interviewed Letecia Stauch over that 14 hours, she didn't have her partner in practice. She had her son and Letecia's defense attorney and Letecia's PI. And I don't know how her son is trained. I think that he does a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I think he might have been helping her with a documentary. I know he helps with her writing. Another thing that I learned in trial was that she would handwrite. She basically wrote up Letecia's first evaluation which was a half-ass evaluation that didn't include the definition of insanity in the state of Colorado. It didn't include an actual diagnosis. It was handwritten. She sent that to Letecia's attorneys, and then they typed it up. So in that case, you've got the defense typing up a doctor's report about their client. No.
Do you know how much they paid her?
No. So she thought that she was getting $350 an hour. The defense thought that they were paying her. Well, the defense didn't pay her. The state paid her through the Office of Alternative Defense Counsel up in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought they were paying her $300 an hour. She also got paid $75 an hour for travel. And of course, I haven't verified any of that, but that's just what she said during her testimony. The prosecution brought it up. It's so nice to have you up here and have it be more of a conversation. I feel like we're actually getting a lot more information out of my, data warehouse up here on my shoulders.
Yeah, the thing that you call a brain.
Right. Yeah. And it is entirely melted. Yeah, absolutely.
I love it that you have that warehouse up above your shoulder. I love it.
Okay, what do we have next? And what time is it? Okay, we're coming up on an hour. We might go a little over. I do have some stuff I need to do, though, before I go live on the public live stream at 8 p.m. Oh, man, and talk about information overload. Get ready. Okay, so the next one says, in retrospect, it was an act of desperation, as are so many acts of violence. Again, not sure why I highlighted that, but, it's not exactly a revelation.
True. When you've got poor coping skills, right? You go to the lowest level.
Right. And Letecia Stauch was nothing if not desperate as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then furthermore, it was committed. No, that was a different case specific. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the information when she's talking about other cases from decades ago, and I'm applying it to, Letecia. And so another portion of that sentence says, violent acts can be perpetrated by normal individuals under sufficiently frustrating circumstances. Okay, fair enough. I also highlighted the words rage, violence, self-control, and responsibility. Well, if that doesn't sum up the freaking candle incident entirely.
Mm-hmm.
I also highlighted the word discrepancies, and I highlighted the word irreconcilable. And I thought, how interesting would it be to put that together as a term? Irreconcilable discrepancies. So I probably stuck it in a sentence somewhere. Thank you, Dorothy Lewis. Here's another one I highlighted. What's that?
I said it sounds smart, that's for sure.
Oh, speaking of smart, get ready for this word. Are you ready?
All right. Yeah.
Circumlocutions.
Oh, Jesus.
Look, I don't even remember if I did look it up. I certainly didn't retain it. I didn't write it in the margins.
Is it really a word?
Circumlocutions. Let's just look it up right now.
Oh my gosh.
Circumlocution is. It is in fact a word. The use of many words where fewer would do, especially in a deliberate attempt to be vague or evasive.
Oh.
Circumlocution.
But that's definitely what she does, though. That's what
I told you guys this was a study group.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's exactly what she does.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Circumlocutioning, is that what she does? Circumlocutioning, is that? Are we using it in a sentence properly?
Becky just made it a verb.
Yeah. Circumlocution.
Shit. Oh,
It should
God.
be a verb.
Circumlocution. When when you okay, well then what's the word for when using a big word when a smaller word would do?
Yeah.
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 Oh, God.
Confabulate. That's not confabulating. It's something
Nope,
else, right?
confabulate. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna start. Where are my note cards? Oh, this is great. I love I love that this is our first study session of the year, and it is just going so well.
Or just change it to confabulating. I don't know. When we get together to confabulate, confabulating. Oh my gosh, I already forgot how to use it in a sentence now.
Oh, we're gonna get there. So now the challenge will be to reuse that word properly without sounding like an asshole with an overinflated ego.
Right. Oh, that's the big challenge right there.
Right. So so our challenge for next week for the study group is to find a way to use these words that we learned tonight in a sentence, but do it with humility.
You got to put it in a community post.
Right. Right. Okay. So what are our vocabulary words for this evening?
The homework session.
So,
their homework. Oh my God.
Confabulation. We have confabulation and circumlocution.
I don't even know how to spell, so you're gonna have to put that in there. Oh my gosh.
Right. Somebody way smarter than us is probably going to listen to this and go, "Oh, aren't you girls precious?" And Scout said she loves this study group with the panel guests. And she also said, "Oh, come on, Becky, we are rooting for you to use these words."
Oh my gosh. I gotta spell it.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I think we should put a cap on the vocabulary words. Like,
just two. Just those two, please.
No more than 2 per study group.
Yeah, no, like maybe per month. Okay. Per month.
Also, who's bringing snacks next week?
Yeah, that's true. Like I brought the drinks. I'm drinking leftover eggnog from Christmas. So.
Oh, nice. I am gonna miss eggnog. I'm not gonna necessarily miss this year's Christmas, but I'm gonna miss eggnog throughout the year.
Yeah. I had to finish it off before it went bad. Can't let it go bad. So.
No, absolutely not. All right. Well, maybe I'll bring some cookies. Oh no, I might have said that word too loud.
Oh, did he come? Like I've seen your dogs. They don't hear anything. So.
Oh man, Kilo hears everything. But Kilo can hear the thoughts of a dog 1 block over walking with his human.
There you go. Yeah. Those were the days. The rustle of a chip of, bag of chips, how they come running. Yeah, no, mine don't hear anything.
Oh
no.
Yeah, I just got Kilo some really loud toys. So it was like $20 on Amazon, and it was 6 different toys, and they look like different animals. They're like, there's a cow, there's a fox, there's a whatever, but there's no stuffing. But there is a crinkle and some squeakers. So I have to keep an eye on it. But for $20, they were great.
Got a bunch of.
Yeah. And then he also got a giant corn on the cob that you're supposed to put toothpaste in to brush his teeth. I haven't tried it yet, but he really likes it without the toothpaste. So there you go.
There is something they put in their water. Did you see that for their teeth? Have you seen that?
No. What are you talking about?
There is some kind of chemical that you put in their water that helps to keep the tartar down on their teeth as well. Yeah, you have to look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah, my dogs don't have any teeth, so I don't have to worry about it. They're, like I said, they're both senior rescues. They came without teeth. That's how I ended up getting 2 of them.
Yeah.
So whoever had them before didn't take care of their teeth, and so I got one, and then my daughter's like, "Mom, here's another dog without any teeth." I'm like, "I might as well take another rescue without any teeth." So
I feel like we need to put a picture of all the post-trial study group puppies and cats, if people have cats. Any just the pets and companions of people crazy enough to be part of this post-trial study group. It's just a group of mascots we need to put together one picture of all of them.
Oh, instead of your trial, like I like your shadows. That reminds me of that Mystery Science thing.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
had the animals watching instead.
I'm such a nerd.
That was
But
cute.
it's important. It reminds me. It reminds me that those 12 imaginary jurors, what they represent, the jury in the courtroom,
Mhm.
they are the only ones with power, and they can only consider the evidence that's presented to them at trial. So all of this stuff that we go over before the trial, none of it truly matters.
Right.
And that's what makes it so important to follow due process in the actual courtroom, because like that case over Christmas, one of my cases in the homeless community in Boulder County, all the way up to trial, the headlines were about how this 19-year-old drug addicted homeless girl's boyfriend had sold her to the dope man on the day that she was killed. We get to trial, and that is not even part of the story.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. All right. I put the book down because I was writing down our new vocabulary words. Where were we?
The homework lesson is where I left off at. That
Circumlocutions.
about it now.
Your favorite circumlocutions. Let me go to my next little sticky tab here. I highlighted the words or the phrase. It's just 3 words. Anyway, it says neurologic, not neurological. And so this is just in parentheses. She says, Jonathan taught me to say neurologic, not neurological. And so I made myself a note, which I guess I'll add to my little vocabulary note. So I was going to start, not that I'm intelligent enough to know the damn difference or why it's important, but just in case an intelligent person is listening, it's neurologic, not neurological, apparently. So neurologic.
I still don't get that. Again, I think this. And most of the people who know me, I'm a nurse, and there's some people say they're not asthmatics; they're people with asthma. Okay, I mean, I don't.
Right.
They're
Right.
They're not diabetics. They're people with diabetes. Okay. Okay.
Right. 6 of one, half dozen of another.
Right.
Although I got a comment today. So on New Year's Eve at the stroke of midnight, I started a public live stream where I was reading the affidavit of probable cause in the Singler case.
Mm-hmm.
And now I had spent hours that day recording the audio of me reading the affidavit of probable cause. At which point I went to save the video after editing. I mean, we're talking hours of work. And the goal was to be able to hit play at midnight. And, I would be in the chat. I would be, celebrating New Year, whatever. Not enough disk space. So because I had already told people I was doing it, I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound. So I went live at midnight and reread the affidavit of probable cause. And at one point in that hour and a half long video, I pronounced one word incorrectly. And there are only 6 comments on that video. As of right now, it's been seen about 500 times. Thank you, everyone who watched it, by the way. But there was one comment that said something like, it's pronounced. Let me look at the actual.
Oh my
comment.
gosh.
But anyway, I think I said stifling. No, I said stippling. I said stippling.
Yeah. Versus
That's
stifling.
what it was.
Oh God.
Yep, that's what it was. Okay, let me add that to the vocabulary. Stippling and stifling. It was stippling v stifling, which makes way more sense than neurologic and neurological. It doesn't really matter. But I highlighted it in Dorothy's book. Okay, so with stifling, I mean, by the context of the sentence, I was basically able to understand what it meant. um, Stipeling. That's how it's pronounced, according to the comment. The creation of a pattern using small dots to simulate shading or solidity. Stippling and gunsmithing. That's probably. Anyway, we're going to go way off track if we go too far into it. I'll add it to the vocabulary. But anyway, it wasn't an overly, it wasn't a negative comment. It was just somebody saying it's pronounced stippling, not stippling.
Must have been a teacher.
Yeah. And then she said, like, just saying. Right. But having worked all day in a wasted video that I wasn't even able to save, and then starting a live stream at midnight with fireworks outside and a dog in the other room who hates fireworks. And had I not gotten some rest before she made that comment, I might have taken myself a little too seriously and been like, I said one wrong word. Right. But that's not how it was. And the truth is, while I was recording it, I wondered how to pronounce it. I guessed wrong. I learned a lesson. I bet you I don't do it again. This is why we study.
Do it again just for fun.
I say Wi-Fi on purpose instead of Wi-Fi.
I don't know if it's a meme or is it GIF or GIF? I still don't know if it's GIF or GIF.
Right. Oh, I lost my comments for some reason. Where did my comments go? Okay. And Dee Dee said, damn grammar police. If you're polite, bring it on, because, I'm a fan of good grammar. I don't always employ it, but I'm certainly a fan of it. I appreciate the study of it. Oh, okay. So the next thing I highlighted in Dorothy's book is Chateau Margaux. Are any of us familiar with Dorothy Lewis's favorite wine, Chateau Margaux?
No.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Oh, really? Now I gotta Google because I'm a wino, but I like cheap stuff.
It's expensive. Hey, listen, lately I've been black box, black box wine. So when you say cheap, I don't know how cheap you mean, but that's how cheap I am.
Oh no, I'm talking $4.95 a bottle. So
like Trader Joe's. So I highlighted Chateau Margaux because I wanted to look it up. And so the paragraph around it says, on the day that I passed the boards, I snuck into Jonathan's office and deposited a bottle of my favorite wine, Chateau Margaux, on his desk. The note beside it read simply, thank you. My days of examining patients with Jonathan Pincus were over, or so it seemed. And indeed, such would have been the case were it not for Lee Ann Jameson's puzzling act of violence. Now, instead of bestowing gifts on him, I found myself in his office, arguing with him. It's very well written, but had I read this book in 98, I think I would have been fascinated and impressed, and I would have wanted to know what, but I got to Dorothy Lewis, through the backwoods many, many years later, courtesy of Letecia Stauch. So I have an automatically and naturally sort of tainted, snarky little lens that I read her work through now. Had I read it in 98, I probably would have been, what was I reading in 98? I think in 98, I was probably reading Helter Skelter.
I was reading Anne Rule back then.
Yeah. Me too.
Stephen King was popular then too. No, I was past Stephen King then in 98. I just stopped. Yeah, Anne Rule.
Yeah, I was past Stephen King by 98, I think. Except for here and there. I tried to, earlier when I meant to say New Year's Eve, I said 4th of July. And that's because I was just talking about the 4th of July in Estes Park, where the Stanley Hotel is in Colorado. And, from The Shining. And What was my point?
So, we were talking about Stephen King or 98, what we were reading in 98.
Oh yeah. So I go back to the Stanley Hotel on the 4th of July whenever I can, because that's the birthday of the hotel. So they throw a ball in the ballroom that they showed in that movie. And it's very cool. They have like ghost tours, and it's very touristy. But they have a fireworks display that is put on to a live orchestra, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So it was one of the places I suggested that my aunt and I spend the 4th of July this year. We try to get together once a year, and she's in Kansas and I'm in Colorado. So
Is the maze are the grounds mazed, or what, how, what I'm trying to say, how there's the maze of evergreens, is it really there?
I don't think so. I've never
Okay.
seen it. I don't think so, but I don't know. Maybe that's what we'll do this year. I don't know.
That'd be pretty though.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful hotel.
Yeah. It is beautiful. And it's just so neat up there. It's and the drive up there, the way that movie opens with the curves of the road going up to that hotel. That is all very real. And it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, it looked it.
Yeah. What are we on time? 7:12 Mountain. Okay. We'll do a couple of more and then I'll let you guys go. I highlighted psychomotor or temporal lobe epilepsy, which in parentheses says now called complex partial seizures. I'm not sure why I highlighted that, because I don't think that we didn't do the EEG and MRI with Letecia. I don't know why I would have highlighted that. Maybe to point out that Letecia, I don't know why I highlighted it. And I don't know much about seizures or seizure disorders. I really don't. I watched a video earlier today of Sanjay Gupta, who was talking about the difference between fainting and blacking out. And
what did he say?
oh, it was interesting. I have the raw. Well, we can wait. I'm gonna clip it up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add, those clips. I make a series of clips just to kind of get the conversation started.
Uh-huh.
One of these nights when we're talking about Kimberlee Singler, I'm gonna toss in a clip of him talking about the difference between fainting and blacking out. And then I'm going to add a clip of a fainting goat with a little thing that says, bitch, please. I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. It's not very professional. But when I read in the affidavit that Kimberlee Singler probably fainted or blacked out, I just immediately, what happened in my brain, my melted little brain, was, bitch, please. And then I saw a fainting goat and heard a noise. Okay. Like, don't play with me. No. So, and honestly, I didn't retain that much of it, other than when you faint, you can kind of protect yourself. And when you just black out, it's a hard drop. You just stop everything all at once. That's what I remember, but we'll study it later. Okay, what is the next one? Dissociative disorder, of course. Not in touch with reality. I don't know. I guess I was in too much touch with my highlighter. I highlighted conduct disorder, unsocialized aggressive reaction, antisocial personality disorder, sociopathic personality.
Well, that's definitely Letecia. I mean, that's her.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Symptoms and signs, like all of those red flags were there with Letecia for sure. I don't think anybody could have predicted that she would have actually murdered a child,
right?
Who was in her care and custody, for fuck's sakes. But I mean, the markers were there, but I don't think anybody still could have predicted that she would do that.
Right.
I think that most people just thought her actual diagnosis was bitch.
Right.
Like
selfish.
Yeah, absolutely. So I also highlighted a book called Criminality and Psychiatric Disorder by Samuel Hughes. I highlighted it, but that was one of those points where I was like, okay, no, I need to stop. I don't need to go like, nope, Jennifer, stop.
Yeah.
So I never looked up that book. And that's fine. I am running out of little tabs. So I'm going to cut it off there at 7:15. We've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to cut it off there for tonight. The big announcement about the jail calls I thought was a really big deal, and I can't wait. I will let you guys know my progress on that. Last time, I think it took me about a month to get them. And it has taken up to 2 months to get things before. So, but that was a long time ago. So I don't even know what to expect. Between now and next week's section, I'm going to finish going through these 2 books and maybe The Anatomy of Violence and just highlighting bits and pieces. I think that's good enough for us. And I really appreciate the interaction and the conversation. And Scout says, thank you so very much, Jennifer and Becky, for this evening.
I appreciate you letting me come up. This was fun. This was fun.
Yeah, I hope that you will do it again and often. And I just think it makes for a way better study group when everybody gets involved. And I think it'll really kick off once we get those phone calls. In the meantime, we're going to go through in sections. You know, we'll start with the insanity defense and Dorothy Lewis, and then we'll merge into another topic that is Letecia Stauch related. And the reason why I'm doing it that way, excuse me, we had talked before about maybe jumping in with James Craig, the dentist from Aurora who killed his wife with poison.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But now that Kimberlee Singler has been returned to Colorado Springs, and I would almost put money on the idea that she will eventually, like Letecia Stauch, claim not guilty by reason of insanity. There is way too much evidence showing that she actually did this. Nice try, trying to blame your husband, your ex-husband. The only defense she's going to have is mental health. And you know, I honestly, as much as I love studying these cases, I would love for Kimberlee Singler, you know, somebody pass her a note asking her to just go ahead, please, and just plead guilty. Don't put your daughter through anything else. Plead guilty, fuck off.
Yeah.
Forever.
Right.
And let people begin to heal. I don't think that's what's going to happen. And I think we're going to be there to study it all the way through. It's also important to me. So while we're studying this new case, which we're doing from the beginning with Kimberlee Singler, right? I'm going to do it similarly to how I first started doing it with Letecia Stauch before I went off and started, joining clubs and whatnot. Because it's easy to get distracted, and I can't let myself get distracted. And I think that we can definitely do that together. Excuse me. So I think that it will be parallel. So with Kimberlee Singler, we have a couple of press releases. We have court documents from her custody hearing. We have the affidavit of probable cause. We have the actual press conference. We're going to break down the affidavit of probable cause starting tonight. We're going to go through, but I'm using Colorado's case against Letecia Stauch and everything I learned as a guide for how to better cover Colorado's case against Kimberlee Singler. I think that we have learned a lot in the last almost 6 years. It'll be 6 years ago this month, that Gannon was killed.
That's true.
Yeah. So So taking everything that I learned with an obsessive sort of study into that case against Letecia Stauch, I think that that experience alone makes me very prepared and capable of going into this new case with a better understanding of the separation between myself and the case, right? Um, I have no intention of interjecting myself into this case. I'm not going to be trying to, you know, reach out to anyone involved, whether that's, victims, witnesses, law enforcement, legal counsel, absolutely not. And I'm going to, within reason and to the best of my ability, acknowledge and respect the boundaries of privacy for the victims. Um, I think that I, in the past, have done and said things that, while they weren't that incredibly offensive or inappropriate, even looking back now with a better understanding that, with a just of the depth and the weight of it all, and the responsibility that I have talking about it in a public space. I'm going to be as mindful as I can, within reason, just like with YouTube's censorship. Fuck off. It's just, I'll do the best I can within reason, but I'm going to use my own moral compass as a guide. And I'm not, I already have a hard enough time with my cadence and pausing too much because I'm so worried about what I'm going to say, because I get nervous and I don't want to screw up. I don't want to say something that's not true. And you have to be so careful. One quick example of why you have to be careful. So I was watching the premiere of a video about Barry Morphew's case yesterday, and it was on Courtroom Confidential, and Gisela K from Grizzly True Crime was one of his guests. And I was watching that, and I had shared a link on my community wall, and I had told Tiff Ritter, which is the husband of Josh Ritter, who is the host of Courtroom Confidential. My God, that was a mouthful. Anyway, I was talking to her, and I told her, hey, I told her that I had shared it, and so she was like, oh, thank you so much. Anyway, I had told her during the part where they were talking about the mountain lion with Barry Morphew, I had told her that there was a mountain lion attack in Colorado this week, but it was the first one in this century. So what I said in writing was, it was the first time a mountain lion attacked a hiker this century. And she took that to mean it had been 100 years since someone had been attacked by a mountain lion in Colorado. And I get so nervous about that I will completely screw everything up if I don't just relax. And you guys help me relax. It's another reason I'm glad I'm doing this live stream before the next one. So I didn't, what I said was true. It was the first mountain lion attack this century. The last one was in 1998, where a little boy was attacked on a trail in Colorado. But the way I phrased it made it sound like it had been 100 years since the last mountain lion attack. And Tiff Ritter, that. And she was, so she thought that what I said was, it's been 100 years. And so now I'm afraid that she's going to, I'm going to see that in a future video, and it's going to be my fault that she misunderstood. Surely she would fact check.
Right.
And then I take it further, and I'm like, well, I hope she knows that I didn't lie. It was just, I just said it in a way that, there was a clearer way to say that. It was an honest mistake, like Scout says.
Right.
Anyway, all right, it's 7:25. I am out of here. I'm going to do the changeover in my background and all of that stuff, and I will see you guys hopefully at 8 Mountain in half an hour if you can make it. But
I'll be in bed probably. All right. Good night.
I totally understand. I totally understand.
All right.
That's what replay is for. But we are doing the study group now every Saturday at 6 p.m. Mountain. So please join us again next week. Think of anything that you guys want to talk about. I mean, I have a loose agenda and I have things to talk about, but the floor is always open for the study group. So, Becky, thank you so much for coming up.
Well, thank you, Chris. I'll try to join later on. I'm going to get ready for bed, though. It's late for me.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, chat.
Oh, yeah. No worries. Good night, everybody. Thank you.